Hello and welcome to another episode of Photography Behind the Scenes, this time as you can see in crazy snowy weather conditions. Winter had already arrived in my area, but not so much that we'd get a lot of snow in town, until now. It had been snowing all day and the night didn't show signs of stopping, so I decided I better get out there and do some photography around my neighborhood because we really don't often get this amount of snow in town. This is the first photograph of the session. I was at a parking area and I loved how that red car was conveniently parked below that lamp. I think this is a great starting point. I like the quiet feeling of the photo and of course the overall aesthetic of a street covered in snow is just pleasing. I went to the road and found dozens of cars covered in snow, which I think is an interesting motive for a photo. Again, it's just aesthetically quite intriguing. I chose that car over there that was parked alone to be my subject. This is the result. The subject matter definitely works here and I love how strongly it was snowing, which comes across nicely in the photo. Next, I wanted to get a photo of the road. I framed a pretty simple shot looking down the road and tried to use the red car I shot before as my subject again. This turned out beautifully in my opinion. The atmosphere is calm and the intense snowflakes make such an interesting addition to the photo. And also, I find that the car being the subject worked beautifully again. I'm happy it was parked under that lamp so conveniently. Then, I barely walked on, I actually only turned around to shoot down the other side of the road. This photo also turned out nicely. This time the subject is again the car, but not parked below the main light source. Instead, it's on the other side of the road. But I think it works anyway. It still gets some light from the lamp. This is crazy. Next, I walked further down the road and found this, I don't really know what it is, but this light source, let's say. Then, on the other side of the road, I found this garage entrance which emitted this bright light. Here's what I got. I think it's okay, but something's not working. I don't exactly know what. I'm assuming it's the composition I'm not enjoying so much. Something just doesn't feel quite right here. Next, I came to this road junction, which I found interesting because it leads to the main road, which is lit brighter, and I've also got a traffic light in frame, which adds a splash of extra color in the photo. Here's the result. I like this one. The composition kind of pulls me into the scene. The tree on the right and the bush on the left create this sort of subframe, and inside we have the traffic light and the main road. Moving on, I had come to the main road and now I found these cars parking here. What caught my attention was a bright ad from which the light fell onto the front cars. This is what I got. I enjoy the artificial light coming from the left. The composition and subject are not particularly exciting, but I think it's a decent photograph. I continued along the road and came closer to a petrol station. I decided to halt here and tried to compose a shot of the road with the petrol station. Here's the photo. I think it's cool. I like that the road is empty and the atmosphere of the scene. One thing I would like to change here is that guy with his taxi filling up his car. I think an entirely empty scene would enhance the atmosphere. Luckily, after getting this shot, I got the same again a little further down the road, this time entirely empty. Next, I crossed the road and walked to the petrol station and found this car parking here. I composed a shot of the car and the entrance to the car wash behind and got this. The composition turned out well balanced, I think. I like it. Then I walked up the road here and came to this house with their car parked outside beneath the roof, which I thought could act as an interesting subject. This one doesn't work, I think. The composition is okay, but the light is too boring in my opinion. After that, I came to this house here and saw that behind there is this open space with a car parked. As I came closer, I found that there's also a basketball net, which I was tempted to include. The photo sadly didn't really turn out that interesting. The light is boring, and I'm not so fond of how the snow at the bottom and the sky at the top have no structure or detail, it's just white. After that, I went a little closer to get a composition that's more concentrated on the van. This is the photo. I think it's better than the wide shot, but still the lighting is pretty useless. Then I went back to the road and found 2 rubbish bins standing in front of the parking area of a home. Oops. This is the photograph. I personally find it's a bit random, but also kind of cool. I enjoyed the mixture of light from the warmer tones on the bins and the colder shadows behind. Next, I approached this place. I don't exactly know what it is, but it looks like a place that keeps cars. I thought it was somehow aesthetically intriguing to see these cars rode next to each other, all heavily covered in snow. So I decided to peek through the gate with my lens and get a photo. The shot turned out okay. The composition and the subject are interesting, but again, the lighting is working against me here. Then I walked on and found a car and a van parking rather close to each other. Again, both properly snowed onto, so I tried to get a photo. This is the outcome. I think it's not any good. I tried to give it this slightly weird looking bright edit, but that certainly didn't help, so let's just move on. I was walking along the road and found yet another car which I wanted to frame as my subject. I set up the camera, and just as I was ready, a car came around the corner and was driving my way. I got a shot with it because the lights backlighting the snow looked pretty interesting, but additionally I got one after the car had passed just in case. Here's the photo with the car, which indeed I think is improved by the second subject and the light it shines to brighten the snow with that strong blue hue. Here's the other composition without the car, which I think is also pretty decent. Then, a little further down the road, I came across this garage with the 2 cars parked and this green light inside, which I thought looked quite appealing. Here's the photo. It's a little messy, but overall I think it works. The green light adds a sense of mystery, because I at least ask myself where this light is coming from and why it's so green. Next, I had moved on to a different road and found these bins next to the lamp. This is what I got, and I like it. The lamp conveniently highlights the bins to draw the attention to the subject, but at the same time the road is well lit from the other lamps as well, which creates this balance and depth going into the composition. After that, I was walking along the road and found this camper van parked next to a building. Here's the photograph. I think it turned out really nicely. The camper van is an uncommon subject among the rest of the photos so far. Something else I find appealing here is the variety of light sources. When you look closely, you see so many different lights coming from outside the frame and being inside the frame, such as the 2 lit up windows of the house at the back. Then, just behind the camper van, I saw this side of the building's wall, which had a closed garage door and some stacked pallets, which as a whole made an intriguing scene for me. This is the photograph I got. I think it's cool. A little further, I found a smaller road to the side which had this subframe created by the buildings on each side. You'll see better what I mean in the photo. Here's the photo. I like the leading lines which lead into this middle part of the photo, which has this interesting shift in color due to the other light temperature of the lamp. Then, I decided to walk into a smaller street where I found this garage, I think is what this is. The photo is somehow interesting, but also boring. I don't know what I think of it. After that, I walked up the little path next to the garage and stopped to shoot upwards the road where the next lamp was lighting up the snow. passed that lamp, I turned around and got the reverse shot, which turned out okay. Not special, I would say. Then I came to this even smaller path, which I thought was pretty cute, so I tried to compose a simple shot looking straight down the path. After getting that, I walked up that path and came to this open space from where I saw this small forest in the distance. I tried to compose a wide shot of the forest and the buildings beneath. This is what I got. I like the outcome, especially the aspect that the sky has some detail here, created mainly by the cloud. Next, I wanted to shoot the path I had just walked because it was beautifully lit by the lamps. This is it. It's not special, but I enjoy the calm feeling it gives me. That was the last photo of the session. I hope you enjoyed this extremely snowy night of photography. As always, I'm curious to know your thoughts, so let me know your favorites in the comments. Mine personally is this one from the start of the session. I just love how the light is spread here and highlights that car by the lamp. And also the overall atmosphere with the big snowflakes falling is beautiful. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If so, I'd appreciate a like, consider subscribing if you haven't yet, and I'll hopefully see you again next week in the next video. Until then, goodbye.